In this lesson, we will take an introductory look at integers. Integers are basically whole numbers, so they are numbers like -1, 0, 2. So basically anything that's a whole number is integer. Positive integers are greater than 0 and negative integers are less than 0. 0 itself is strangely enough is neither positive nor negative. An integer which is greater than 1 that is not prime number and is called as composite number. So the first 10 composite numbers are 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16 and 18. Now let's move towards the multiplication of integers. Some facts regarding this are: the product of two positive integers is always positive. That is, when we multiply positive a with positive b, the result will be positive c. Next one is, the product of two negative integers is positive. That is, when we multiply negative a with negative b, the result is positive c. And last one is, the product of positive and negative integer is negative. That is, when we multiply positive a with negative b, the result is negative c. Okay, now let's see about even, odd and prime numbers and some relationship that exists between them. Every integer is either even or odd. An even number has 2 as a factor and it is divisible by 2. An even number has 0 or an even number in the ones place. Let's see example 36. 6 is an even number in the ones place. Next one is an odd number. An odd number does not have 2 as a factor or it is not divisible by 2. Odd number will also have an odd numbers in one place. Let's see an example. Here 47 has an odd number in the ones place. Okay, now let's see about prime number. Prime number has exactly two different factors, 1 and the number itself. For example, here 2 has two prime factors, that is 1 and 2. For 3 it is 1 and 3. For 5 it is 1 and 5. And a prime number can be represented by two rectangular arrays. Now let's look at some facts using odd and even number. The sum of two even numbers is even, that is 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. The sum of two odd numbers is an even number. For example, 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. The sum of odd number and even number is odd. This 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. Now, next rule involves multiplication. Odd multiplies odd is equal to odd number. That is, the product of two odd numbers will always be odd number. This can be seen in this example. 3 into 7 is 21. Here 3 is odd number, 7 is also an odd number, so the result is odd number. Next is 1 into 9 is equals to 9. Here both 1 and 9 are odd numbers, so the result is also odd number. Next is odd into even is even. That is, the product of an odd number and an even number will always be even. As it's shown here, 5 into 2 is equals to 10. Here 5 is odd number and 2 is even number, but the result is even number. And finally, the product of two even numbers will always be even. As we can see in this example, 6 into 8 is equals to 48. Here 6 and 8 both are even numbers, so the result here 48 is also an even number. And 10 into 2 is equals to 20. Here 10 and 2 both are even numbers and the result 20 is also an even number. Now let's see what happens when we divide integers. Let's begin by developing the rule for what happens when we divide an even number by another even number. So we will try few numbers and see what happens. For example, when we divide 4 by 8, we get 0.5, which is not an integer. However, when we divide 12 by 6, we get 2, and which is an even integer. Now, when we divide 20 by 4, we get 5, which is an odd integer. So, it appears that when an even number is divided by an even number, the result can be a non-integer even or odd number. Now let's see what happens when we divide an odd number by an even number. When we try this, we see that the quotient can never be an integer. So, we conclude that an odd number divided by an even number can never be an integer. Okay, what about an even number divided by odd number? Well, sometimes when we divide an even number by an odd number, we get an outcome that is not an integer. Otherwise, we get an even integer. So, we can say that if an even number divided by an odd number, then that integer will be even. Finally, what happens when we divide an odd number by an odd number? Well, sometimes we get an outcome that is not integer, other times the outcome is an odd integer. So, we can say that if an odd number divided by an odd number, then that integer will be odd. So, let's summarize. In this lesson, we learned even, odd and prime numbers, and we learned the multiplication and division of integers.